This is photo class number 398. I'm Carmine from New York, and this is the Nikon D80. Let's go. The plaque from YouTube, 100,000 subscribers. Thanks everybody for subscribing. Keep it up. Hit the subscribe button if you didn't subscribe yet. Comment below, thumbs up, hit the thanks button. You know what to do. So this is the 2006 Nikon D80. It was reviewed by DP Review. Phil Askey, in particular, gave this a highly recommended verdict. This is one of the finest CCD film-like sensor cameras out there. It's aps-c size crop sensor. That means if you put a 50mm lens on it, the crop factor is 1.5, so it theoretically has a focal length of 75mm. Okay, and the reason for that is that it's just using a cropped part of the lens. Probably the best part, the center of it. All right, so I don't want to get away from the fact that I mentioned CCD. CCD sensors, by the way, there's a whole resurgence of people that love the CCD film-like sensors. But my research went down a rabbit hole, and I found that Sony made professional television production cameras in the field. Like, in other words, when a news cameraman, for the TV stations would go and film a crime or a fire or a car accident or anything, those big TV cameras that they would hold on their shoulder like this. That camera had 3 CCD sensors inside, a red, a green, and a blue. Oh boy, I'm telling you. So it's not just us photographers who know that CCD sensors are special. They give the emotions of film, the look of film, and the colors of film. Okay, so now this camera was $1,300 when it came out, including a lens, but you can get these for $119. $119 is the best excellent rated one today on mpb.com. They're not a sponsor. It's just that I checked their website. So $119 for this camera, no lens, but what a great little camera. So, like I mentioned, it has a DX format, 10.2 megapixel sensor. You can shoot RAW or JPEG, and throughout this whole video, you're going to see the photographs I took at a beautiful, modern, clean zoo called Turtleback Zoo in Essex County, New Jersey. So the photographs I took with the D80, I had 2 lenses with me. This lens, okay, this is a full frame Nikon ED AFS Nikkor 24 to 85 millimeter 3.5 to 4.5 G zoom lens with vibration reduction. I used this lens when the zoo allowed me to go into an actual aviary. It's a big bird cage with parakeets, budgies, whatever they're called. They all look like parakeets to me, or canaries. I'm sure you guys that love birds will know the difference when you see these pictures. But I've been to this zoo before, and I knew you needed a wide angle lens because they're right up in front of you. In fact, they'll land on your shoulder, they'll go in your hair. It's a wonderful experience. Now, for all the other photographs you're going to see in these videos, I used this telephoto Nikon. Okay, it's also an oldie. It's the Nikon AF 75 to 300, 4.5 to 5.6 zoom. This is autofocus. It has a tripod collar. Now, this lens took all the other photographs you're going to see of all the other animals and things in the video. This is quite a lens, and it's inexpensive. Okay, so let's keep going about the camera. This camera, the Nikon D80, has a built-in motor to autofocus lenses. Okay, it looks like a screwdriver. And it goes into the slot into your lenses. Let me just point it out to you right here. Okay, this lens, this autofocus lens, has a slot for the motor in the camera because this lens does not have an onboard motor for focusing. It requires the camera to do the focusing. Of course, you could always manual focus the lens. Okay, now this lens, the G lens, doesn't need the screw from the body of the Nikon D80. Okay, it has these pins, and it has a silent wave motor built in. So this camera, the D80, can focus AFS lenses as well as the screwdriver autofocus lenses. Now, it does have top screen over here, which is great because when you're shooting, you just glance down and you can see how many frames you have left, what the conditions are, your shutter speed, what f-stop you're at, what setting you have your light meter, whether it's spot or multi-segment. Okay, it's great to have. The screen on the back is pretty big. It's big enough when you want to do your menu and just chimp once in a while to make sure that the camera is working because you can see your photos that you just took. Okay, the ISO range is 100 to 1600. You could push it up to 3200 equivalent in high 1. Now, it has a built-in flash, which is great. The pop-up flash I used for all of the bird photographs in that aviary I told you about. Does not take video. There's no live view. So if you think you can use this camera like you use your cell phone, right, by holding it up, you can't. You have to use the viewfinder. All right. Now it takes the ENEL3E battery. This is huge. Okay. Here's what I'm talking about. I shot 350 photographs, all in RAW, with this battery. And when I came home, the battery meter said it was still full. it didn't lose 1 bar. This one happens to be a Wasabi aftermarket battery, which I highly recommend. Okay, so it has a slot for 1 SD card, and you just take a couple of these 8 gig SanDisk cards. Now, you can get the D80 grip, which will hold battery, all right, but I don't need it, all right, I don't need it. I like this camera that's got a great grip. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't need the extra battery grip, and you save money. So now, what were my settings at Turtleback Zoo for all these photographs? The day I shot these photos, it was very overcast, very overcast. So I had to shoot at ISO 800 because I wanted to use f8. And you guys know by now, f8 is the sharpest aperture on any lens, whether it's a newer one or an older one. It doesn't matter the make, Nikon lens, a Canon lens. It doesn't matter. Just take it from me after 50 plus years, f8, put it on, f8, and go shooting. Unless you want to blur your background and just keep it wide open. All right, but just keep it on f8. So aperture priority, ISO 800 and f8, and off I went for all these photographs. Oh, here's another thing. I want to show you this, not a lot, I think there's only 2 or 3 macro photographs, because this lens actually has, right here, has a macro setting, okay? So now macro, meaning not that you get close, it'll take a close-up, but for this photograph, I was about 4.5 feet away. Enjoy the photographs that I took on my little safari at Turtleback Zoo in Essex County, New Jersey. And I want to give a shout out. There was a zookeeper there who walked me around and showed me the highlights. He showed me what animals would photograph the best. And his name is George. Thank you, George, for taking me around the Turtleback Zoo. Have a great day. This has been Carmine from New York. Subscribe.